Hey guys, welcome to the next level. A little bit of a last minute thing. I did actually get my converter for Game Gear games after making most of this video. But it turns out my Game Gear Sonic Chaos is possessed by Satan. A Sonic game on the Game Gear possessed by Satan. Not the most ridiculous thing you've heard all day. Now, it is sort of surprising that there even is an 8-bit Sonic game on the Master System. Obviously, it makes sense for it to appear on the Game Gear, or at least it would seem that way if you were North American like me. The Master System performed like crap in North America, with factors like Nintendo doing some probably highly illegal business practices in the 1980s, like threatening their third parties and stores who disobeyed them. That's right. 80s nostalgia for The Legend of Zelda or Dr. Mario is actually nostalgia towards Nintendo fascism, and now you have to live with that. In Brazil and parts of Europe, it was actually the inverse, as for the longest time Nintendo botched the launch of the NES there, and gaming didn't suffer the same video game crash we did. The Master System did extraordinarily well, and of course the Mega Drive, Genesis for us, followed. So it made total sense in a way to have a version of Sonic for the platform. For us, again however, it was the last Sega Master System released in North America, which is funny as technically the Master System still isn't discontinued over in Europe. Now obviously I could play the Game Gear version. Oh wait, no I can't. The Game Gear is the faultiest handheld in the world now. Either the screen no longer works, the battery life is shit, and even if you got one modded, why the heck would you want to deal with a screen crunch? Unfortunately, while there was an adapter for the Genesis to play Master System games, a similar device to the Super Game Boy was never, as far as I know, made. I think for technical reasons. I know there's an adapter from Mega SG, and I just don't have that yet. And I have a bit of a history with the other 8-bit Sonics, and I'm scared of returning to them. But I want Game Gear Shinobi, so soon I guess. But I went and got the PAL releases of Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic Chaos, because screw Spinball and Blast. Can you see the prices of those? Imagine being this stupid. Guys, you can get your dick kicked in for far cheaper than that, you masochists. They run just like NTSC versions on my Mega SG, and even fun fact, the rather expensive version of Sonic 1 on Master System released here is literally just the PAL version with a sticker. Today I'm looking at the entire trilogy, since I'm way less familiar with these games than the more recognizable 16-bit outings. Is there a reason for that? Or are these missing counterparts just more of what I love? Well, kind of, but let's get into that. Starting, of course, with the first game. Now, where to start? I am much more familiar with this game as I had it on the Mega Collection and Wii Virtual Console as a kid. There's a lot less documentation about this game's development than its counterpart on the Genesis, but it was not made by Sonic Team or even Sega, but an outside team called Ancient. We'll return to them, but for now, the plot is basically the same as its 16-bit cousin, so let's talk mechanics. You can do anything you could do in the first 16-bit Sonic. So rolling, jumping, collecting rings, it's all the same. In fact, while the level design is a lot more 8-bit, I don't really know how to describe it, I guess scaled back. Sonic feels really good to control here. It's not exactly the same, but it's better than I think you would expect it to be. If Sonic is hit though, you have no chance to pick up dropped rings. Basically it works like a shield would. And shields are in fact in this game. So while you may want to grab rings all over if you're used to the other games, you may want to leave a few just in case you lose yours. And since if you collect 100, it actually takes away all your rings, and you won't get into a bonus stage unless you have 50 or more, you're actually just better off staying between 50 and 100 since the bonus stages not only give you a chance to earn lives, but also continues. It's just better to keep your rings than lose them for life, since the bonus game just gives you more. You may be wondering about the bonus game, and I use that term loosely. Basically, it's a Land of Springs that sort of replaces Spring Yard Zone in this version since we don't have that level here, but it has a time limit. Your goal is to grab rings, lives, and continues and make it to the end to keep the continues you earn. Chaos Emeralds are instead found in stages, usually hidden, and if you miss one, that's it, no good ending. The thing is, besides maybe the last one, I feel like you could reasonably find most of these in your first time. I know I had no trouble finding them as a kid, and I was a stupid kid. In this game, you still go to Green Hill, Labyrinth, and Scrap Brain just like its counterpart, and they are mostly a lot like them in terms of mechanics as well. Green Hill is Green Hill, Labyrinth is almost exactly the same except the boss stage is filled with water and Sonic somehow never drowns. My life is a lie. And Scrap Brain is much more maze-like. We have the Bridge Zone, an area that feels like an extension of Green Hill that has a beautiful new song. Oh right! So, this game was handled by the Streets of Rage developer Ancient, and that means yup. While there are a few tracks that are just 8-bit renditions of the 16-bit tracks, the new stuff was composed by Yuzo fucking Koshiro. If you don't know who that is, and you enjoy 16-bit games, what's wrong with you? Revenge of Shinobi, Streets of Rage, Super Adventure Island, Shenmue. The last one isn't 16-bit, but he is a musical god, and his work for 8-bit Sonic... That's the good stuff. Bridge Zone takes some of its mechanics from the Starlight Zone, such as the seesaws, but has collapsible bridges, and unfortunately has Act 2 become an auto-scroller. Probably one of the worst levels in this game. Sonic and auto-scrolling just don't mix well. Jungle Zone comes right after, and while I do like the challenging first act a lot, Acts 2 and 3 really are a pain in the ass. Act 2 has this mechanic where if you fall off screen while climbing up this rather vertical stage, it's just a death, no matter what is underneath you there. If the screen is moved past it, it doesn't exist, and all that's down there for you is death. You have to switch how your brain works for this one and only time, and I really don't care for that. I know the Game Gear version doesn't do this, but again, screen crunch. That's the one major con of that version that still makes this version superior. The boss is worse though, since I find it so tricky to actually maneuver here, and the bomb is a bit random in how it works. Honestly, I have more trouble here than any other boss, which says a lot since these acts have no rings in them. Another con of this game is the lack of rings to protect you in these acts, which I feel limits them in some ways. They have to design bosses that feel fair and balanced around the fact that one hit spells a dead hedgehog, which means if a boss does have a surprise attack, it feels cheap and just an excuse to waste a life. Since rings work way more like a shield in this game, this shouldn't even be a factor, since it's not like you can get more than one hit with rings anyways in this game. And actually, if you finish Act 2 with a shield, which are quite rare in this game, I assume because of limitations, you'll actually bring it into Act 3. Most of these bosses are easy, so... Sky Base Zone is actually the new final level, which Eggman escapes to. Act 1 has this lightning effect that takes over most of the stage, which really hurts the eyes, and Act 2 is a bit of a maze, but if you're going for the Chaos Emerald, it's over real quick. I hear in the Game Gear version they added cannons in this area. Thank God I'm not playing that version. Believe it or not, I think this game actually has a better finale than its counterpart. Here you have to destroy Robotnik's pod while avoiding a laser and an electric traveling beam. Again, I think this is a lot of fun, if a little annoying that one single mistake means death. I usually find being aggressive towards the end of the fight is the way to go, however, and you chase Robotnik back through a teleporter, and this time the Chaos Emeralds actually do something useful and remove the pollution Scrap Brain is spreading around South Island. Look at that, we have a really cute ending song to play with the credits, and that's the 8-bit version of Sonic 1. While I don't think it's as good as the Genesis game, it's filled with a lot of the charm and fun of its counterpart. I definitely do recommend giving it a shot, as it's a surprisingly good and fun game on the level of the other 8-bit classics like Mega Man and Super Mario Bros. 3. You wanna know it's not? It's sequel! Ancient and Yuzo Koshiro did a great job. That's why they weren't involved in Sonic 2. Apparently, development of Sonic 2 was started maybe even earlier than Sonic 2 on the Genesis was. I can't prove that obviously, but an auto demo dated December 5th, 1991 has been leaked of this game, over 9 months away from the final version, which predates the earliest prototype version of Sonic 2 on the Genesis that we have by a few months. But who knows? For context, December 1991 was when the Game Gear version of Sonic 1 came out, so I do lean towards my theory. Either way, apparently when Ancient were finishing up the 8-bit Sonic 1, and as soon as plans were underway for the new 8-bit companion to Sega's most important game of 1992, this game was being developed by a new team, Aspect. But let's give them a chance. What's the chances after such a good start the last game gave us, this one being awful? Pretty high, actually.
That's it, Blue. I know Sonic 2 is your least favorite in the classic games, but you don't need to start shitting all over it.
Prower.
Sonic 2 is a fantastic game that added so much to the series that you can't just shit all over it. Super Sonic, amazing zones, iconic music, one of the greatest ending cutscenes in 16-bit games. Who do you think you are?
Prower.
I am not done. What gives you the right? Just because some people like Sonic 2 more than they like other people, and just because I got arrested that one time because they found me in the bushes with Sonic 2 way out of context. I am a gentle wolf.
Prower. Sonic 2 8-bit on the Master System and Game Gear.
Oh, okay, yeah, fuck this game. Tear it a new asshole.
This game is Sonic 2 in name only. Tails is here, but that's about it. There's no spin dash, no returning zones from the 16-bit game. Leaning into my theory that this game started out rather early into the development of its companion. The story involves Tails being captured by Eggman and you being forced to collect the 6 Chaos Emeralds. There ain't no Super Sonic here. To get Tails, you need to find the 5 emeralds scattered in the zones before getting to this game's Silver Sonic, who has the 6th. And if you don't, your game ends straight there, skipping the final zone and implying Tails died. That's, dark. What the hell, Aspect? That's the equivalent of getting a B on a report card and your dog gets shot. What a kick to the nuts, and we're only just starting. Now, I'll start with the improvements made over the original game on Master System, since there aren't a lot of them to begin with. When you're hit, you can actually pick up rings like the Genesis games, and the game introduces modes of transportation outside platforming. We'll get into those later. Oddly though, there are also things that have been removed. Shields and checkpoints no longer exist in Sonic 2, and there are no longer any bonus games. Instead, the end-to-act posts have some very situational conditions to be met. If you have a multiple of 10 rings, you get a bonus 10. I guess this could be relevant if you had 90 rings, I suppose. If you lost exactly 2 lives during the level, the game gives you a pity life. And if you have the same number of lives you entered the stage with and 77 rings, not 78 or 76, 77 exactly, you will get a continue. Needless to say, I didn't bother with this nonsense. We got 7 zones this time around. Underground with minecarts and lava. It's like this game knows it's the spawn of Satan starting in hell like this. Like Sonic 1, there are no rings in Act 3. Not only do you have to make it through this trial and error crap with no rings, there's a boss at the end too. But luckily, besides Underground Zone's boss and the final boss, the bosses are easy. Underground Zone ends Act 3 with the worst first boss in any Sonic until Triple Trouble, where you sit on a slope, which makes platforming harder while avoiding this insect thing and its bombs it drops. In the Game Gear version, the bombs are even more randomized, and the screen crunch, so you don't want to play that version of this game. What's even odder is Sonic is almost given a death by lava before Eggman saves him and brings him up here. What? Sky High is next with the second worst mechanic of this game. This stupid hang glider, which they were clearly proud of, but if you expect this to work like the Cape in Mario World, you are in for a bad time. It's also the closest in theme to any of the 16-bit games levels. Hilltop Zone. Lovely. Aqua Lake is the most jarring level of quality between 2 acts I have ever seen in a Sonic game. Act 1 is actually a lot of fun and is easily my only highlight of this game. Skipping over water at high speeds is a lot of fun, even if they try to pull a prank by hiding the signpost. Act 2 is hell. If you remember Sonic Mania's Hydro City, Hydrocity, whatever you want to call it, you'll recognize these bubbles. And this stage is just a major pain at the end. If you fall, you are doing this whole section again, and if you think Sonic controls badly underwater in 16-bit, you ain't seen nothing yet. Sonic falls back way further, and with the slowdown of the water, it leads to a very not fun time. Another factor is that at least in the Master System version, you have to make the bubble take you all the way to the top, because I swear the game prevents you from making this jump, even though I should be more than capable of it. Green Hills, yes, Green Hills Zone is another odd zone. First of all, why is it Zone 4? The zone order seems completely random, and like Underground and Green Hills Zone were swapped around, and there are some factors to that, and I have a theory about that. Act 1 is really easy, and after the hell I've gone through, I am really thankful, as this act gives you so many lives that you really would think that this was meant to be the first zone of the game. But then Act 2 and 3 decide to take turns kicking your dick in. The levels are filled with springs that you have to launch yourself on to progress, and you cannot see where you're going, and there are spikes everywhere. I can't see shit in the Sega Master System version. Can you imagine the Game Gear? Listen, Sonic 1 on Game Gear was more than playable, but I would never recommend playing this version of Sonic 2 ever. And apparently I'm not the only one, because look at these eBay prices for Sonic 2 on Game Gear. Gimmick Mountain is honestly not that bad. I'd be nitpicking pretty bad to really complain about this zone, but it does have this part where you're expected to ride this minecart and destroy some spikes to make it to the end. I'm not really a fan of these puzzle stages where you're screwed unless you figure it out. Don't worry if you want a big rant. This zone might have been alright, but the next one, I really think somebody on the dev team had a tube fetish. You know how dimps are known for bottomless pits everywhere? Every Sonic game Aspect has ever made has these tube mazes, where you're being shot through these tubes at high speed and you have to memorize a path to the end to find the only path to lead to progression. This is nothing but annoying. Many times, they put these paths over no way to recover. So if you mess up, which you will, you are dead. If it was a one-time thing they tried, then fine, but it's back in every single Aspect Sonic game. On top of that, this is the zone that decides if Tails dies or not, and I had this happen to me on my first recording. Yeah, they didn't even consider that somebody may hit him while he's like that in the air. How did this get released? If you have the 5 Chaos Emeralds and get the 6th from Silver Sonic, yippee, more game. You get sent to the Crystal Egg Zone, which is fine, it's rather easy until the boss, where you sit in a tube and wait for an opportunity to strike. Oh my god, even the end of the game is a bit of a tube maze. This is easily one of the worst final bosses I've ever played, since all you're doing is sitting there, waiting for a chance to pop out and hit him, and of course sometimes the electricity he shoots will linger, messing with your timing and killing you. I hate this. That's the end of it. Even Sonic, reunited with Tails, just looks to the audience and goes, yeah, this wasn't worth it. What a quality shift. This game has got to be one of my least favorite Sonic games. Probably one of my least favorite games of all time, and I just think it's because I expected so much more. This is one of the biggest downgrades I have ever seen in a direct sequel. And there's a lot of good things. Like usual, the music is pretty good in places, Scrambled Egg being the standout track of the game.
But Blue, Toot Toot Sonic Warrior is from this game, as it's the theme of Green Hill Zone. Wouldn't that be the highlight?
Sonic Boom is better, fight me. The presentation is a step up from the first Sonic the Hedgehog, but for any improvement they added to Sonic 2, they took 3 steps backwards and created a game that clearly had a lengthy development period, yet feels rushed. I was so angry playing this for the few times I did for this video, and while I had tried to avoid going full rant mode and just letting it all out and demonstrate why I hate this game so much, you can get the Game Gear version for $6. With how every retro game will likely cost you $60 to $100 at least. Isn't that a sign that maybe I'm not the only one who thinks this game is garbage fodder? I guess let's see if they improve things. The third main Sonic game on the Master System and Game Gear, Sonic Chaos, was released in 1993 for the Game Gear everywhere, and in Europe and PAL territories for the Master System, with Japan deciding to call the game Sonic and Tails to sell people on the special gimmick this time around. That for the first time in any mainline Sonic game, you can actually pick to play as Tails and use the special abilities like Flight. In Sonic 2, Tails pretty much had the same properties as Sonic, except a slightly smaller hitbox and couldn't manually fly. I still didn't play as him though, for reasons I'll explain later. Now initially, the video was only supposed to cover the first 2 Master System Sonic games, but I decided to quickly look and see if Aspect were able to improve from last time, and they definitely did, sort of. Now, I would say that this game does in fact look better, and even though Tails is the main new addition, Sonic wasn't left out either. Sonic finally gets his spin dash in an 8-bit title, and they even gave him the super peel-out from Sonic CD, which the manual oddly calls the strike dash. Not a fan of that name, but, you know. The game has a lot of the usual tropes of a Sonic game, as none of the stages will feel very original, besides one of them. Turquoise Hill just sounds like the snob of the Green Hill stages, you know, the spoiled brat who nobody really likes, but he's family, so you have to keep inviting him out to Thanksgiving. Gigalopolis, I don't know how to say that, is the zone that has slightly altered names based on region and version. It's pretty much our Starlight or Stardust Speedway equivalent. Sleeping Egg is very similar to the Crystal Egg Zone, I assume because everyone threw out their copies of Sonic 2 after the Underground Zone boss, and Aspect figured nobody would notice that they reused it. Mecha Green Hill Zone is apparently Green Hill Zone from Sonic 2 completely roboticized, and I can't lie, that's a super interesting concept for a stage, showing how dangerous Eggman can be even with just one Chaos Emerald. Unfortunately, Aqua Planet left little to no impression on me as this game's water level. I guess it's better than the last one, but it's so unremarkable that it doesn't seem to matter. Electric Egg has more Tube Maze crap, but this time, if you know what you're doing, Acts 1 and 2 will probably not even take a full minute to play. That's why I don't like maze stages. They're here to make your life a pain once, and after that, it's just a short and linear stage with very little substance. Very fitting metaphor for the whole game, honestly. You may have noticed that I didn't mention bosses either, and that's mostly because of how unremarkable they are. The first and fourth one are ridiculously easy. Gigalopolis, again, I don't know, is a pain just because I'm an idiot and he just blocks you from getting your rings back constantly. But you can't handle it. And honestly, I can't even picture the other bosses in my head, and I captured the game yesterday. At the end of Electric Egg Zone, if you fight Eggman who uses Gemini Man's weapon from Mega Man 3 to try and hit you, if you took the slightly secret path to get to him, there's 40 rings there, so it's just a matter of time. My true problem with this is Eggman's desperation attack after you beat him. After chasing him from his destroyed mech, he makes his ship thicker and tries to ram you. Thing is, you gotta bounce on top of his head just once, and if you touch anywhere other than dead center on his head, you're gonna die. Rings or no rings. I don't care who you are, that's a bad design choice. Now, there's really not a whole lot to say about the main game here. Unlike the 8-bit Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, this game feels very safe. Just basic. Then we have the Chaos Emeralds. Just like Sonic 2, one of the 6, yes, still 6, Chaos Emeralds will be obtained at the end of the game because Robotnik has it. The other 5 are now obtained through special stages, finally coming from the 16-bit games, which are accessed automatically by finding 100 rings. You still get an extra life, and you'll be sent to the next stage whether you get the emerald or not. This solves a few problems in the game and creates new ones. Unlike Sonic 1, you want to collect more than 50 rings, but unlike the previous games, rings can be rather scarce. A lot of the time in these stages, just to make sure it is possible to get 100 rings, they pile like 5 super ring monitors into one place. And when they don't do this, you gotta collect every ring in the stage and go up and down every route. This unfortunately feels more like padding than anything else. This game is short, and the only thing to lengthen play, unfortunately, is to gather the 5 emeralds, and the special stages, well, honestly, most of them are fairly easy mazes. Special stage 1, 3, and 4 are fairly easy. Find the emerald in a big area in a time limit challenges. Special stage 4 is kind of annoying because the time limit is rather tight, but of course, 2 and 5 are tube mazes. Of course they had to use the tube mazes. I can't complain too much about special stage 2 since all you have to do is hold up on the D-pad in the tubes and it's over, but these special stages are no fun after your first time since based on their nature, replaying them means they lose all their fun to collect them because you know exactly what to do in them. Special stage 5, however, is an ass. It's a tube maze. I have no shame in using a guide to find the way through. And even if you make it to the end, there's a spring set just to ruin your attempt at the last second. So what's your reward after going through all of this? Sonic 1 had a better ending than even its 16-bit counterpart. Sonic 2 had a secret extra level. This game has a Chaos Emerald border during the credits over Sonic. I think this represents the whole game. It's fine, it definitely improves things from Sonic 2, but it's so unremarkable and just falls flat. Believe it or not, the reason I didn't want to play as Tails not only is because he starts with 5 continues, and I didn't need that, look at how many continues I got, but he also can't get Chaos Emeralds. The game is short, it covers its tracks with padding, and leaves you with more negative memories of its frustrations than its positives. That's the problem with a mediocre game. There just isn't much to say, and that's the Master System trilogy. While I hate Sonic 2 and I think Chaos is just mediocre, I truly like Sonic 1 a lot. Unfortunately, I haven't got a way to play the Game Gear titles just yet, but my memories of Triple Trouble aren't overly positive either, and Sonic Blast screams final boss of Aspect's Sonic Hell. I just don't care for Aspect's games. but maybe another time. Triple Trouble could be the one saving grace. I hope you enjoyed 8-Bit Hedgehogs, 32-Bit Blue, but I think it's time to get back to blast processing. The next thing up is the original game. Welcome to the next level.